Thanks for joining us once again, ladies and gentlemen, at the Phantom Tollbooth Cornerstone 2008 press tent. To moderate our next press conference with XXX Church, here's Brett McAlpin.
Good afternoon. I'm here with Brandon from XXX Church. Good afternoon, Brandon. Why don't we just wind you up and go here? Tell us the story of XXX Church. How did it come to be?
XXX Church started about 7 years ago in Southern California, and it basically started as a resource for teenagers dealing with the issue of pornography. The idea was, hey, let's just put a website on the internet and help some people with the issue of pornography. There was really nothing at that time on the internet about this issue. The church wasn't talking about it much. No one really wanted to talk about it. Porn's taboo. No one really likes to talk about porn. So that is where XXX Church started. Shortly after, it kind of dawned on the founders of XXX Church, Craig Gross and Mike Foster, hey, you know what? There's a lot of people in the porn industry that need some help. So let's go to them. So they actually went to a pornography convention in Las Vegas, Nevada, the world's largest porn convention, and set up a booth and said, hey, we want to help you stop looking at porn. And passed out some cards and hung out with people, and they didn't think much of it. They took their wives, of course, because it's kind of silly to go to a porn show, just by yourself. So like, let's take our wives, let's set up some couches. And I actually took a guy named Rex the Rabbit. It was the church mascot for the children's ministry. So they hijacked that from the church, went into the porn show, and just talked to people, had all kinds of conversations. And that night, they expected to be kicked out. They expected, hey, we're going to go in and say, we want to help you stop looking at porn. We're not going to protest. We're not going to stand outside, because every porn show, there's a Christian protester as you walk in. And they decided, let's walk past them. Let's buy a booth space. They didn't ask questions. We gave them a credit card number, and they said, hey, yeah, have a booth. That night on the Las Vegas Evening News on NBC was a news piece, and basically the news said, you guys are the most interesting booth at the porn show. We see all kinds of booths, all kinds of porn, but you guys, the #1 Christian porn site, are the most famous booth at the porn show. And so it was on the news, and then it just kind of took off. People just heard about it, word of mouth really spread, and from then on, that was 7 years ago. We've toured to about 400 churches internationally, and it's just been a pleasure to get around the world. There's been 70 million people that come to XXXchurch.com. About 250,000 hits every single month come to XXX Church at this point. And it's really exciting to us. More exciting is actually about 2 years into it, we decided, hey, we need to do something more than giving practical Bible studies and resources for this issue. We need to create a practical thing that's actually going to drive people to accountable relationships in their lives. So we actually created some software called X3 Watch. And about 500,000 people use this software right now. Basically what it does is it goes on your computer and it monitors where you go online. It sends any questionable websites to an accountability partner of choice, whether that's a wife, spouse, close friend, or pastor. And we just saw thousands of people getting help for the first time, because the hardest thing about porn is talking about it, and talking about it, especially with someone that you love, and saying, hey, I want to stop looking at this stuff. So X3 Watch is a practical resource. It's available today for completely free on x3watch.com. It's really awesome. 70 million people have been on the website, but only 500,000 have actually downloaded the software. That's not very good odds, and we found that about 1/3 of the people that actually come to XXXchurch.com are looking for porn. When they come to the website, you'll find no porn on the website. You'll find resources, you'll find stories, just about the other side of the story. We don't want to shut the porn industry down. We're not supporting any type of legislation against pornography, but instead, we just want to tell the other side of the story. And we find that there's thousands of individuals that are saying, you know what, this is a negative force in my life, and I do need some help. And we feel that the #1 way to get help is through accountable relationships in your life, just honest conversations.
Well, a couple of questions come to mind from that. One, was Rex the Rabbit able to return to his children's ministry duties after you guys used him at the porn convention?
Yeah, we stole Rex, and the church really never asked for him back. And when they heard that he was at a porn show, they really didn't care to have him back. So,
which kind of leads into my next question: is tell us about the range of responses that you guys get from the church at large to what you're doing. Are there some kind of saying, "Wait, don't go there. That's they're too far gone. Stay over here where it's safer."
Yeah, you would expect that our opposition actually comes from the porn industry. It's funny, I've been to 10 porn shows. We've been going to porn shows for 7 years now. I've been to 10 in 2 years. I've had no one angry at me. I've had 0 people come and say, "What are you guys doing here? I hate this." Any kind of animosity in any sort of way. Actually, on the whole other side of it is we actually have many Christian people and organizations that really do not like what we do. For whatever reason, porn scares people, and people don't want to talk about it. And obviously, when we put #1 Christian porn site on our website, we expect some attention and a few people to be confused. But you'll find no porn on our website. We want to help people out with this issue. So you can go to our website and you can literally read thousands of words of hate mail, pages and pages long of hate mail. And we think it's funny, so when you send us an email, that means you don't like us. So just for anyone in the room who's sending any hate mail, it's on our website. We post it because we think it's hilarious. So,
what kinds of resources or ministries are developing that help people who have left the pornography industry to be spiritually fed and to grow in their faith if they have become Christians? Are you seeing a growth in that sort of thing as well?
Yeah, totally. We actually started something about 1.5 years ago called the Esther Fund. And the Esther Fund is exactly what you spoke of, actually helping people that have decided to quit their jobs in porn and follow God. So you have to understand that with porn, that's their job, that's their friends, that's their life, that's their culture, that's everything that they do. And it's like you quitting your job, what do? You really don't know what to do. So our concept was, hey, and when people turn away from porn and turn to God, let's help them get on their feet. So we set up the Esther Fund to provide schooling, to provide food, to maybe pay off some bills, to get people on their feet in the life after porn. In 7 years and 4 years since we've been helping people in the porn industry, we've helped about 6 individuals out of the porn industry, and we're really excited because we're moving west pretty soon, and to be out closer to all those people out there.
Yeah. And we also would love to encourage folks in the audience here, if you would step back to the soundboard and use the microphone there if you have any questions for Brandon. I'll ask one more before we get to that. I forgot what it was.
That's okay, man.
Right.
I can make some up if you want.
Could.
Yeah, I'm good at it.
Actually, let's go with our person who knows what he wants to ask, and maybe it'll come back to me.
Question for you, Brandon. Last year, read something, and we actually attended one. But what if you could talk about the porn debates that you guys at XXX did in conjunction with somebody in the porn industry, and how that was received? You guys traveled all across the country, and how that looks like it's going to continue on moving forward.
Yeah, about 3 years ago, a ministry got a call, and they said, hey, would you be willing to debate Ron Jeremy, one of the biggest porn stars in the world, on a college campus? And Craig Gross, the founder of XXX Church, said, yeah, why not? Next week, he flew out to Boston, and he debated Ron Jeremy. If you don't know who Ron Jeremy is, that's a good thing. He is the most famous porn star in the world. He's a male, by the way, and believe it or not, he is. He slept with 5,000 women, and he's been in about 2,000 porn films. So for us, that was a great opportunity. We're like, okay, let's go. In Boston, there was a streaker that went down the crowd. They had 2 bodyguards around the guys all the time. It was a crazy event. And basically the idea was, hey, let's have this conversation about pornography. So the porn debate just came out of, hey, let's converse about this issue. And it happens on college campuses across the country. And we've gone to about, I think, 40 different colleges. And we actually last summer, during the summer, did a tour at bars and clubs across the Midwest and out east. So it was a lot of fun. Basically, Ron argues all of his points that are pro-porn, and Craig argues all of his points that are anti-porn. And a lot of Craig's points, it doesn't involve the Bible. A lot of it's just general, simple knowledge. hey, you're bringing this into a relationship, this can be destructive. And Ron would say, well, it's not destructive because it's actually entertainment. You can watch this stuff and you can go on with your life just like you watch a movie or any other film. And Craig would say, no, porn is very powerful and it's going to seep its way into your life. When you let a little bit in, you're going to let a little bit more and a little bit more. And for us, it's a completely secular environment. We've been to such colleges such as Yale and Ohio State University, and this fall we're actually going to be at Duke University. We're really excited about it. For us, we just look and say, man, God, this is amazing, because we never thought 7 years ago that this would be a possibility for our ministry. So we get all kinds of questions. Usually Craig has about 10 fans out of 2,000, so we love that. We think that's amazing. So,
how much more challenging has it become for you guys to do what you do as pornography has become an accepted part of mainstream culture that everyone's aware of? Because not that long ago, very few people knew who Ron Jeremy was, and now it seems like porn stars are accepted celebrities. Other celebrities and famous people talk freely of partaking in pornography. How have you guys kind of felt that challenge of just the increasing acceptance of it?
Yeah, with the rise of the internet is with the rise of pornography. So basically in the 80s, you could go buy your videos, you could go buy your magazines, you had to go to the seedy part of town, you had to go to the movie theater that no one knew about. And in the 90s, porn really grew to, let's put it on the internet. So it did. I actually was in middle school when the internet became mainstream. I remember every one of my friends had it. We had dial-up, and I remember looking at porn with dial-up internet. This stuff is available. The reason that porn has become so pervasive in our culture is because in your living room is a 24/7 porno pipeline. Whether you like to think about it or not, it's like an open porno mag in your living room. It truly is. The internet it makes a whole lot of money. You have to understand that pornography makes $13 billion just in the United States and over $50 billion worldwide. In the United States, it makes more money than the NBA, MLB, NFL, and NHL all combined. So porn makes a whole lot of money. There's no way that we're going to compete with that type of business, but our concept is if we can be there for a few individuals that need some help and want to move away from this stuff, then that's exactly where we feel called to be.
Yeah. I see another audience question.
Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
I go to Missouri State University, and I remember when I was my freshman year, which was 3 years ago, Ron Jeremy was on our campus. Was that you guys?
I don't exactly remember. We've been to 40 colleges, so kind of spaced my mind. There could be there's 2 other people that actually debate Ron. That was 3 years ago, so now it's just Craig. So I hope that helps at all.
I'm just kind of curious.
Oh yeah, no problem. You didn't go, man?
I got a picture with him.
You got a picture with him, but you didn't go?
No.
Oh, okay. That's probably a good thing. I'm glad you didn't go. Welcome to Cornerstone.
Hey, I actually attended one of the porn debates with Ron Jeremy and Craig Gross, and I was wondering, don't you guys have a pretty good relationship with Ron Jeremy? Like him and Craig are pretty tight. Can you just describe that to us?
Yeah, totally. It is fascinating to be around, to be quite honest. You think this guy would just be mad and angry at us, but actually what bewilders students on college campuses is that Craig get up there and basically argue back and forth for 2 hours long, and then they hit Denny's or they hit Hardee's late at night and sit down for a meal after the porn debate. Craig's concept as simply is just to be a friend to Ron. Ron tours hundreds of days in the year, and really honestly, he's in, he's out, but just has developed an amazing relationship with Craig and just been there. Craig's been to his home. Craig's been out to dinner with him, a bunch of times, and it really is just an awesome relationship to see that Craig actually cares for this guy. It's not about his job, because simply put, porn is Ron's job. That's how he makes money. You might have seen him on the VH1 on a reality show or somewhere else, that he has reinvented his career as he's gotten older. He's old, and I don't know, we're trying to get him to retire soon, but it's kind of tough.
Hey, what advice would you give? Looks like you're a single guy yourself. what advice would you give to all the single guys out there? I'm 42 and still single, and I'll be honest, it's hard. When you don't have a girlfriend and there's no other options out there, what advice could you give to single people, across the board?
Yeah.
Well, I know the Word of God, but you can't be 24 hours in the Word of God. It's just not practical.
Yeah, for sure. No, it is challenging. I would say if you struggle hardcore, get rid of your computer. You need to take drastic steps in your life to get this junk out of your life, because it'll take control. If you let porn take control, and if you're apathetic and you consume it here and there, eventually it'll turn into a pattern. And a lot of guys, we just don't have enough honesty to look back at our life and say, oh, wait, since I was 12, since I was 11, this is a pattern in my life. So I think first you got to take some drastic steps. Number two, you have to be accountable to someone. You have to have someone that asks you tough questions on a regular basis. You got to have some stuff on your computer that's going to monitor every single place you go on the internet. Every 2 weeks, I have a guy named Sean. He's my old youth pastor. He gives me a call every time he gets my X3 Watch report. Sean's kept me accountable for 7 years now. I stopped looking at porn when I was 15 years old, back in high school, because I went to Sean. I was like, hey man, what do you think about this porn issue? And Sean was like, well, I don't think it's good for you, man. I wish I never looked at it throughout college. And then I was like, well, Sean, what do I do? It's everywhere. My friends are into it. What should I do, man? It's everywhere. And Sean was like, well, how about I keep you accountable? And Sean, next week at youth group, said, hey man, how'd you do with porn last week? Of course, I get red-faced and embarrassed because I'm like, not so hot, Sean did. Because I didn't know that Sean was serious. But Sean was really serious about this. And he said, you know what? We're gonna get you over this, and we're gonna work through this. I wasn't addicted to porn, but that doesn't mean that when my friend sent me an email or sent me an instant message, I wasn't gonna click on the link. I didn't have a stance on it. I'd look at it sometimes when I stumbled across it on the internet. What changed my entire life was one person coming alongside of me and asking me tough questions and keeping me accountable. And that was through, XXX Church is very close to home for me, because the first year the accountability software was actually out. Was the first year that I put it on my computer, and it changed my entire life. Not only with porn, Sean keeps me accountable to every area in my life. And there's the beautiful thing about X3 Watch is there's thousands and thousands of stories just like that. As this stuff just goes across the country, people want help with it, and number one way I'd say is be accountable. Have someone and maybe you need to get rid of the computer. Maybe you need to turn off the cable. Maybe you need to get rid of the TV. Maybe when you travel, you need to have them turn off the porn channels when you get in the room. Maybe you need to look for a hotel chain that actually doesn't have porn in the hotels. They're out there. There's thousands of ways that you can get rid of this. A lot of times as guys, we think this stuff is just gonna go away, but it doesn't. You have to do some steps in your life to actually get rid of it. I know I have a lot of guys, and they're my heroes. They actually have their moms signed up as their accountability partner with X3 Watch. Their mothers. I mean, really. One of our interns has his mom still signed up. That's serious right there. And he doesn't look at porn anymore. And it's beautiful at the same time.
Okay, I've not seen your site yet, but I will as soon as I get home. Tough questions. What about, how do you approach the issue of masturbation, and both as a father with kids, especially sons, and as a youth pastor with either proactively or reactively with young teens, especially young boys?
Yeah, masturbation's a tough issue. Something we like to say on XXX Church is we like to laugh a little bit, especially about this topic, and don't take this too seriously, but we say every time you masturbate, God kills a kitten, so stop killing kittens. God doesn't really kill kittens, by the way, but it is a funny way to get this topic out in the open. We say don't masturbate. Don't. You need to stop. There's different interpretations of masturbation. We acknowledge that, but with XXX Church, 99.9 with a repeating sign, masturbation is coupled with lust. And Jesus says, do not look at a woman with lust in your eye, or you do it in your heart. And we take that quite seriously, because we didn't say it, Jesus did. And we're gonna talk openly about masturbation, say, hey, it's not something that you should let in your life. It's not something that you should, instead of masturbation controlling you, you need to control yourself, and you need to get real, and you need to get accountable. So I would say, as a youth pastor, I would have a porn night, And after you talk about the issue of pornography, I'd split the guys and girls up, and I would talk to the guys honestly about the issue of masturbation and say, hey guys, this is not a good thing to have in your life, and here's some ways to actually get over it, and here's some reasons why. Because God wants us to be about one woman. He doesn't say have sex with yourself. A lot of times we call it sex with yourself. God has created sex for a man and a woman. That's it. Not a man in himself or a woman in herself.
I had a question about XXX Church moving to Las Vegas and what you guys hope to, accomplish with moving there, and if there will be any more opportunities for students like myself to maybe volunteer or have an opportunity to do other things that XXX Church isn't doing right now.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. XXX Church, after 7 years, we're actually moving to Las Vegas in a few months. We're really excited about this. It's just taking our ministry to a whole nother level. We just want to be available for more people. And we also we have dreams in Vegas, and we have dreams of having a 24/7 place that people can come for help as they go to Vegas. During a big convention in Vegas, about 30,000 escorts are working the strip. You know, a big convention's about 250,000 people that come into Las Vegas. 40 million people actually visit Las Vegas, Nevada every single year. So for us, we want to put a church on the strip, and it's in the plans. So look for it in January 2009. We're really excited about it. You know, XXX Church, we never actually had a building. It's one of the most frequently asked questions that we have. We don't have a building. We're a parachurch ministry. We're a nonprofit. We exist on the internet to help people with this issue, and we tour and speak at churches. But now we're actually going to have a building. We're really, really excited about it. Yes, and there will be tons of opportunities for students. We're going to get an apartment probably and do intern living quarters, possibly a girls and a guys apartment. And we have dreams of reaching out to the sex industry and especially the transient culture that's into Vegas. You know, a guy or gal is about to make a decision that they're gonna regret or already have made a decision about that. You know, we have dreams of a 24/7 pastor on call. We have dreams of being a presence in Vegas that like no one's ever expected. Within 5 miles of the Las Vegas Strip, there is 0 churches. So we're excited.
All right, couple of questions. First of all, do you have a working definition of pornography, given that not everybody necessarily agrees as to what is? Some people might regard titillating outputs as pornographic, for instance. Secondly, I believe Ron Jeremy has gone on record talking about what he sees as the more, in his terms, abusive end of pornography, where women are degraded in movies. I was wondering, have you had that conversation with them as an organization?
Let me clarify the second question real quick. Yeah, as Ron talked about the abusive side point.
I read that he'd railed at some length about what he sees as the good old days of the porn industry.
Sure.
And what he regards now as a slide into movies which end with the woman being physically degraded. And I was wondering if you distinguished between that, or you had that conversation with him?
Yeah, for sure. I'll answer the first question. The first question is, do you have a working definition of porn? Naked people that you're looking at. So that's porn. Yeah, you know, Jesus says, don't look at a woman with lust in your eye. Porn is what you make it. If you're looking at a girl on a magazine screen or a computer screen and they become an object, then you know, that's pornographic in itself. So there's a lot of stuff out there. The line has been blurred between what you can sell at CVS and what you can't sell at CVS, what you can sell at Walgreens and what you can't sell at Walgreens, what you have to be 18 to sell or not. The reality is what we call the stuff that you can buy when you're under 18, we call it porn training wheels. It's stuff that's gonna get you to buy the stuff that's further. You have to understand that porn is a business. It is a business. The stuff that you buy at Walgreens, actually, those magazines are selling better than porn now. And they're, quite honestly, they're quite pornographic themselves. So a working definition of porn is simply naked people you're lusting over. Hope that helps. Is that cool? Everyone good with that? You know, a lot of people ask about art, all kinds of stuff like that. Man, porn is, when Jesus talks about lust, that's exactly what he's talking about. It's what you do with what you see. What you do with what you see. And, you know, I hope that helps. Yeah, that's our definition of it. Number 2, has Ron Jeremy talked about the abusive side of porn? Yes, he talks about it very politically. See, for Ron, when he started porn back, 40 years ago, it was a certain kind of stuff. You have to understand, in 1990, I think 300 actually hardcore pornographic titles were actually sold. In 2006, there was 13,000 deemed pornographic titles. With the rise of the internet, it's supply and demand. It's simply supply and demand. There's more people wanting stuff that's more edgy, that's more pushing the limits. And quite honestly, Ron says there are some people that shouldn't be in porn, and that's who XXX Church helps. He doesn't say not everyone needs to quit porn, but he says there are some people in porn that need to be out of porn, and that's exactly what XXX Church is called to. Ron jokes, he's like, I love what XXX Church does, and they hate my job. And that is kind of true. Ron does like that we help people out of porn if they need help. And then obviously, Ron's a porn star, so we're kind of against that lifestyle. Any other questions?
I recently returned from Las Vegas, and have you been there recently?
I have.
What kind of an answer do you have to all those individuals that are lining the strip trying to get you to take these cards with the pictures of these girls and a phone number on it that says "in your room in 20 minutes"? Yeah,
it's ridiculous. Actually, prostitution is illegal in Las Vegas. Actually, on the strip. It is. It's crazy, but you can go down the strip.
I think it's overlooked, though. I think they look the other way.
That's highly accurate. That's exactly right. When you walk down the strip in Las Vegas, there's these guys. We got these guys just passing out cards. Say, "Girl to your room in 20 minutes." What do we say to people that are walking, about to make that decision? I don't know exactly what we'd say to them, but we'd say our vision is that we're here to help those people that are about to make that decision. That is the stuff they're passing out is pornographic, and we know the insides to that industry, the escort industry, and it's very much one that's very dark, and our vision is just being light in a dark place. We haven't got to Vegas. We don't know exactly how that's going to work yet, but we're really excited and really open to God's leading in those things.
Well, you certainly have a challenge ahead of you.
Yeah, thanks for supporting it, everybody here. Thank you.
Any other questions? We've got just a couple more minutes, then we'll have to wrap things up.
Anybody? Come on.
If you could, real quick to wrap it up, when somebody comes to you and says, "Hey man, I don't see the big deal about pornography, I'm not hurting anybody, they're not hurting anybody," what are the key points that you make in the case against porn?
I think number 1, porn is selfish. It's all about yourself. It's turning people into objects. Porn dehumanizes people. Number 2, it turns people into something they're not. God created human beings. He didn't create people on a computer screen. These people have souls, they have stories, they have lives, and they need some help. So I'd say just turn the whole entire story around. Turn that computer screen around and think through the fact that these people that you're consuming, that you've turned into objects, is completely going against, it's turning around everything that God created. God created us in His image, and the people that you see on a computer screen or in a porn magazine, they have been created in God's image. So it dehumanizes people. I think number 3, it'll make you do things that you never thought you would do. Porn is one of those forces in this world that is addictive, and it will take you places that you never thought you would go. For example, I don't think Ted Haggard just ended up being with a homosexual prostitute. I don't think he just got to that point. It's not an example. I don't know if he had porn in his life, but this is this one decision that's led to another decision that's led to another decision. And for many guys, porn goes offline. What happens online doesn't stay online. It actually goes offline. So for a lot of guys, they just start making decisions like, should I go to the strip club? Should I get an escort when I'm in Vegas? Should I do this? Should I do that? And next thing you know, they wreck their entire lives. I've actually been to a place in Kentucky, and please feel free if you'd like to know about this place or talk after, just catch me or catch one of the guys from XXX Church. It's called Pure Life Ministries, and what it is it's a place of rehab for sex addicts and people that have just wrecked their lives with porn. And I actually got to spend a week there. We talked with the guy and we were like, hey, we'd just like to come and hang out and film it. So we filmed it all. It's going to be a short documentary. But I walk into this place and I've never been addicted to anything, but I understand addiction after a week's stay there. There's 55 men. For the first time in their life, they're understanding that sin is not how they're created to live. They have been in perpetual sin throughout their entire lives, some since they've been 6 years old. There's guys that from age 18 to all the way to age 68 that I got to interact with. There's grown men crying. There's people from, with multi-million-dollar jobs, all at this place of rehab, because for the first time in their lives, they've made a decision to, really confront their pride head on and follow God to, really confront this issue. So with porn, it's very destructive. It is. I'll just close with this story. Part of my job is actually visiting guys in prison. A lot of times guys hear about our ministry through the newspaper that they get in prison, and they write in, they say, hey man, I know exactly what you guys are doing. I really want to encourage you to keep up the fight. That's why I'm in prison, is because of what you guys talk about. So obviously we write them back and we just encourage them. And a lot of the guys, they ask, hey, would you ever be willing to visit? So I've actually got to visit a few guys in jail. The first guy I ever visited was Bill. It's a federal penitentiary outside of Boston. And I walk in, it's a crazy experience because they take everything that you own, everything metal, they make you take off your shoes. It's a federal penitentiary. And I walk in and I've never met Bill in my entire life, but I wrote letters to Bill. So Bill comes and says, man, it's so awesome to meet you. And he's so excited. He's like, dude, did you bring quarters? And I'm like, yeah, of course I brought. You asked me to bring quarters, so I'll bring the quarters. And he's like, oh man, I can't wait to have a Mountain Dew. Give me those quarters. So he runs over and grabs a Mountain Dew, grabs a Pepsi, some Cheez-Its, because I don't really get that stuff in the prison, only when someone comes to visit. So he comes back, we start to have a conversation. And Bill just told me his story. At the end of his story, he said this. He said, Brandon, I know you get to speak to a lot of teenagers and a lot of guys who, might be dabbling in porn. They might be taking it a little bit here and a little bit there. Oh, this doesn't affect my life. That's over here. It's what I do at late night. My wife doesn't know about it. The relationships in my life aren't affected. And Bill said this. He said, when I was 11 years old, it all started with me stealing Playboys from a friend. And I took those magazines home and I got addicted to porn when I was 11 years old. And Bill said, porn has taken everything from me. I'm 33 years old. I've lost my wife. I've lost my job. I've lost everything. I've lost my freedom. I've even lost Mountain Dew. And I'm in prison. And I just want you to tell those people out there that porn is destructive. It is progressive. It'll make you do things that you never thought you would do. It's completely fantasy. And for me, it led me to the point of consuming child pornography, and that's why 7 years of my life are completely gone. His wife has left him, and the only hope that he has, as he looked in my eyes, he said, the only hope that I have is the hope found in Jesus. And for the first time in my life, I'm free.
That's it. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The website is XXXchurch.com. Is that not correct? That is true?
That is very true. XXXchurch.com. The accountability software can be, you just click on a link on the front page. It's called X3 Watch.
Is it free?
Completely free.
There you go, folks. You can't beat that. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Brett, thanks for moderating. And thanks for joining us at the Phantom Tollbooth Cornerstone 2008 Press Tent.